Hello guys, welcome to another FPL video. This is Sakafosi, and in this video we use our science-based model to find out the best fixtures and best players for GW12 to GW18. We'll also analyze the most popular transfers of the game week, draft some cool wildcard teams, and react to some of your social media posts. Stay until the end because the wildcard drafts are very surprising. And first, let's take a look at our team managed using data from our model. GW1 went great with 80 points and a big green arrow to 48,000 overall rank. Fernandes was a good differential captain who did very well. And most of our players returned decent points. Now, let's take a look at the fixture difficulty rating FDR. Pause the video to take a good look at the table. For attacking returns, Bournemouth tops the list with a factor of 1.07. That means they're expected to score 7% more goals than their average. Stay tuned to find out who is the best pick from their team. At the bottom of the list, we see Tottenham. It's not the right time to buy any of their players. Now, let's see the FDR for defenders. Once again, pause the video to study this table. Arsenal tops the list with 2.39 expected clean sheets over the next 7 game weeks. Their defense is not as strong as last season, but if you own some of their defenders, don't ditch them yet. This is the table with the best players for the upcoming game weeks. Screenshot this table because it's the best information you'll need to plan your transfers or wildcard. At the top of the list is Palmer. This guy has 0.42 xG per 90, 0.53 XA. He plays 90 minutes for Chelsea, he's on penalties, and Chelsea has decent fixtures in the near future. He's a must-have for every team. Salah and Saka are the best midfielders after him. Great choices if you can afford them. Surprisingly, Semenyo is the 4th best midfielder with a price of 5.7. He's a bargain, obviously the best budget midfielder, and probably should be in your team. His XG is 0.48 per 90 and his XA is 0.24. That's pretty high for his price, especially since another popular budget midfielder like Rodgers has only 0.30 XG per 90. Combine his underlying stats with Bournemouth's easy schedule, and you can see why he ranks so high. Bruno Fernandes is also a great pick given his price. He averages 0.43 xG per 90 plus 0.30 XA per 90, always plays 90 minutes, and is on penalties. Saka might be a bit better, but Fernandes is a lot cheaper. If you can't afford both, Fernandes is my personal choice. The managerial change is a risk, but I think Manchester United with Amorim will be a better team. And Fernandes will get more returns than before. And some popular players you should avoid buying are Mbeumo, Smith Rowe and Rodgers. Mbeumo's best fixtures are over, and if you need a midfielder right now, you should spend more on Fernandes or save money by buying Semenyo. Smith Rowe and Rodgers are decent cheap players, but Semenyo is much better right now in a similar price range. Haaland is the top forward in expected points, but with a price of 15.3, he's very hard to justify since his expected output is similar to much cheaper players. His XG is 1.11 per 90, while Isak is almost half of that, only 0.55 per 90. However, Newcastle has better fixtures and Isak is a lot cheaper. This is why I think he's the best forward to buy right now. Jackson has similar underlying stats, FDR and price as Isak, but Isak is also on penalties, which gives him the edge. Of course, the best strategy is having both, as they are the best forwards after Haaland according to our model. If you need a cheaper forward, João Pedro might be the best option, but Brighton has a lot of forwards making his expected minutes uncertain. This is why we're going with Wissa. He's nailed in Brentford starting XI, and with 0.76 XG per game, it's hard to ignore him at this price. His schedule isn't as easy as Pedro's, but his underlying stats are much better. Some popular players you should probably avoid are Wood and Watkins. Wood has scored some goals recently, but his upcoming fixtures are bad, and he's been a bit lucky, scoring 8 goals from 5.4 expected. I don't think he will keep scoring like that. Watkins is a great player with 0.75 XG per 90, but he's expensive and Duran often takes some of his minutes. And clean sheets are hard to get, and managers use their fullbacks very conservative. This is why defenders score very low, and you don't need to spend a lot of money or transfers on them. Gabriel has an edge since Arsenal has a good defense, a good schedule, and Gabriel poses a threat on set pieces. Cheap defenders like Milenkovic and Aid-Nouri are also good picks. Nottingham has a strong defense. Wolves' defense isn't as solid, but Aid-Nouri is very threatening, and I'm expecting attacking returns from him. Arnold, of course, is a defender who will most likely bring you points, but he's very expensive and might be injured right now. Avoid the popular pick Guardiola. His 3 goals might make you think he's threatening, but in reality he averages 0.10 XG per 90. Man City's defense is decent but not outstanding. He costs 6.3, and with that money you can fund midfielders and attackers with better potential. Now, using all this information, we will plan the transfers for our team and build some of the best wildcard drafts in the game. This is our team for GW12. We have 1.8 in the bank and 2 free transfers. International games are on the way, so we're not rushing any moves until we get more info. My plan right now is to roll the transfers unless some of our assets are injured. Second for Jimenez could also be a valuable move, but Jimenez has Wolves at home in GW12 and saving the transfer may be a wiser move right now. And now it's time for our wildcard drafts. The first draft is the one I would personally choose. It has a great balance between the lines, a deep bench, and gives you a long-term structure to build on. Sales is the main goalkeeper because he's the best 4.5 option due to Nottingham's great defense. Fabianski is of course the number 2 since he's the only 4.0 goalkeeper who might start. For defense, we picked the best premiums, Arnold and Gabriel. Both Arsenal and Liverpool defenses are good, and they both have some attacking threat. Aït-Nouri is the most attacking fullback in his price range, and Milenkovic is the best 4.5 defender for expected clean sheets. Faze is just a 4.0 filler who gets regular stats, you could trade him for any other defender. Our midfield has the 3 best players in the position, Salah, Palmer and Saka. These guys are expected to score the most points, and we have them all. Semenyo is the best budget midfielder and a must for every wildcard team. Rodgers is another budget option with safe minutes at Aston Villa and decent stats. Our attacking line is stacked with the 2 best forwards after Haaland, Isak and Jackson. They're expected to score the most points after the robot, and we managed to fit both in the team without sacrificing much. João Pedro is maybe the best budget forward and takes his place in our attack. Wissa could be a good choice instead of Pedro if you can afford him, that this team can truly skyrocket your rank. Before we show you the next wildcard draft, please remember that this type of content takes days of work and a lot of scientific expertise. Please show your support with a like or subscribe. The next draft is for the Norwegian fanboys. I don't think Haaland is worth the 15.3, but some of you can't build a team without him, so here it is, the best Haaland draft. We had to ditch Alexander-Arnold, of course, to fund this draft. The best midfielders, Salah and Palmer, are still in the team. Saka couldn't make it and is replaced with Fernandes, the best midfielder after him. Semenyo, of course, is in the team since he's the best budget midfielder. The 5th player is a 4.4 filler, will sit on the bench, making space for Haaland's goals. The forwards alongside Haaland are Wissa and Pedro. They stand out in their price range and offer great value for money. This draft can outscore every other Haaland draft and maybe every other team overall if Haaland performs like a robot. Lastly, I'm presenting the most stacked full-out attack draft that you can possibly make. Sacrificing Arnold gives us the opportunity to have in midfield 5 out of the 5 best players in the league. The same applies to the forwards, but of course without Haaland. Overall, out of the 10 best players in the league, you have 9 of them. This draft can't go wrong. Now let's look at some of the most popular social media posts. Bluebird feels baffled about the 113,000 Aina transfers because of his schedule. Nottingham has to play Man City, Arsenal and Spurs in the next 7 fixtures. But as we already saw in the FDR, they're expected to keep about 2 clean sheets over the next 7 fixtures, which is the 4th best projection in the league. This is because the correlation between clean sheets and fixture difficulty is logarithmic. That means if the opponent gets twice as tough, the probability of a clean sheet doesn't get twice as low. So a good defense like Nottingham's will keep clean sheets no matter the schedule. We already saw this against Liverpool when they conceded 0 goals away. Also, we've already discussed that defenders generally suck this season and you shouldn't waste transfers on them. Buy a defender and keep him long term. Short-term fixtures don't matter unless you're planning to swap defenders in the future. Shiva needs transfer tips for his team. He has only 1 free transfer. And his team is totally fine, no injuries, no bad players. His team is close to optimal. You don't need to make a transfer every game week. Sometimes the best strategy is to roll. Bateman is wondering if performances with national teams affect our FPL strategy. The easy answer is no, they shouldn't. A hat-trick against a semi-professional national team has no effect on our strategy. Premier League teams are far better than some national teams and you shouldn't care much about international games. Zakaria is wondering if Sanchez and Verbruggen are the best goalkeeper combo for wildcarders. Remember that goalkeeper is a long-term decision. Buy a cheap goalkeeper for the rest of the season and stick with him. Sels is probably the best choice and Sanchez is a close second. But I would pair Sels with a 4.0 goalkeeper like Fabianski to save money. Rotating goalkeepers doesn't offer much value. That 0.5 cash could give you the slight edge you need. Now let's address some of the millions of posts about Haaland or not. Haaland is a great player and he will probably score a goal per game on average until the end of the season. Like any player, he has good and bad form stretches. Now from GW12 to GW17, he's expected to score fewer goals than his average, but from GW18 to GW223, his fixtures get much easier. My model projects 0.85 goals per 90 until GW17 1.03 goals per 90 from GW18 to GW23. If you're undecided, you could skip Haaland now and buy him in GW18, but make sure you have a plan, as this move will likely require at least 2 transfers. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember that this type of content means a lot of time and expertise. Show us some love by clicking the like button and subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like this.